Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to the Centurion's review of the punk rock band of Wargame Review Institutions. This is Alsace, 1945. The German Attack says it's a sequel to America Triumphant. They both use the same rule set. This is from Avalanche Press. It looks like a micro game. I played this game years back. It's not a micro game. It's a big box game in a small box. I mean, this takes like 2 to 4 hours to play and stuff. And more detailed than you would get in like a micro game. So if you get this, just be aware that it's going to be like playing a big box game. The Nazis launched their last offensive on the Western Front just as the Battle of the Bulge was winding down. American troops blunted the German assault and then threw the enemy back into Germany. This game uses the same game system as America Triumphant and can be played together with that game or separately. 4 different scenarios or game situations are provided. It says it takes 2 to 4 hours to play, number of players 2, and 4 kilometers a hex. Units are brigades, regiments, and battalions, and there's 140 counters. It's got a map and a 16-page rule book, and says difficulty level is 1.5 out of 5, and solitaire suitability is good. Here's the map here. It looks pretty good. It's got a terrain key down here, up here ground condition chart, and with modifiers and so forth. Turn record track. Eisenhower's attitude is here. And there's a weather table, and you keep track of your impulses for the Allies and the Germans. Looks like the Allies have 3 impulses, and the Germans have up to 5, it looks like. Interesting. Let's take a look at the counters here. This is completely punched. These are just photocopies of the counters in case one gets lost. But they're standard NATO military symbols. They look fine. Let's take a look at the rule book. Starts with an index, which is good. Rulebook has a total of 31 pages in it. That's including scenarios. See what I mean? It's definitely not a micro game. Alright, here it's doing an intro. Here it's going over the components, what you get with the game. And it says what the NATO standard military symbols mean here, which is good, because if you're new to wargaming, that'll definitely be helpful to you. Alright, so units have a combat strength and a movement allowance. Sequence of play. Initial segment, German player determines weather and ground conditions, then the German player rolls for supply points. The Allied player rolls to determine Eisenhower's attitude. This may require 2 die rolls. Players may build up weakened units. Players place friendly headquarters and combat supply and determine the supply status of all units. And then players place impulse chits for those headquarters they wish to activate. Alright, so now it's going over the weather and ground condition phase and your first impulse and your movement phase and combat phase. And it's going into movement in more detail here. As far as stacking, no more than 3 units may be stacked in a single hex. In addition, 1 battalion-sized unit in the headquarters may also be present in the hex. Any additional headquarters are treated as battalion-sized units. Here's your supply rules. Impulses. Combat rules. And here's your retreat rules. And here's your reinforcements and replacements. And rules for special units. Here it's got some optional rules such as division cooperation, fuller advance after combat, retreats through zones to control recon units and mechanized overrun, and then varied casualties. Here's where your scenarios start. First one is the Alsace offensive. Then drive to the West Wall. Operation Nordwind. And Wack am Rhine South. So there's a lot of scenarios in here. That's good. And then Grand Offensive. And your CRT is on the back of the rule book here, along with your terrain effects chart. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've tried this, of course, chime in and let us know what you thought of it. This is my second copy that I own of this, so I'm probably going to sell this copy soon on Consim Marketplace or something. Have a good evening.